So, Aquaman. Aquaman starts off with a simple enough premise. It's basically about an underdog superhero who is half human and half superhero, and eventually finds out that he is meant for more, and then eventually becomes the Aquaman that we know and that we have learned about. So just to start off, he is basically this, as I said, a kind of an underdog who eventually runs into these villains and then try to kill him, and he survives it. He then is introduced to his brother, who is the half brother who is trying to basically become the ruler of Atlantis. He wants to become the ruler of all the seas, and he also wants to wage war on the human world because of what the human world, or what at least what he believes the human world had done to Atlantis many um, eons ago. And he is basically in this battle with his brother, with his half brother Arthur, who is the character Aquaman. And I like the battle in the middle because I like it when the villain and the superhero have this battle in the middle of the film. I know that's a kind of a standard thing, but I do enjoy it because I think it really just sort of builds up an anticipation for what happens at the end. And even though there is this battle, he is, you can probably imagine, it's a pretty, you know, predictable film. He is in danger when he is fighting his brother and then is rescued by Mara, who is the princess uh, that is basically the lover of Aquaman, or at least they're not lovers during that time, but then they eventually become lovers. And so when Mara rescues Aquaman, they eventually go off into uh, Sicily, and then they find the actual location of the trident. Although before that, they do end up in the Sahara, where they find out where the location, uh, or how should I say, the location of where to find the location of the trident. And so they know that they have to go to Sicily, and then they find themselves basically in this strange world where they are, trying to look for the trident, but then they also get kind of swept away into, not to use any puns, but they get kind of, swept away into the world of Sicily. They enjoy themselves, and then, as you know, danger basically is lurking, and danger strikes, and they eventually escape because the Black Manta is trying to hunt down Aquaman and is trying to destroy him. And then eventually they find out where the trident is, and lo and behold, Arthur eventually meets his mother, and there is a final battle. And I have to say, I did not like the final battle as much as I liked the middle battle. The battle in the middle was much better. It was under the water. It was, yeah, it had a lot of CGI, but it wasn't very CGI intensive as the final battle. The final battle was just very intense. Again, the CGI looks, I mean, it looks nice in the sense that it's a film that is trying to become, this very popular film. It wants to be bright. It wants to be, it wants to sort of drag in the audience, but then it just becomes so saturated with CGI that I did not really enjoy it, and I didn't think it was a very epic final battle. Maybe the film wasn't trying to be epic, but I like the middle battle much better because it was under the water. It was much more intense. It had fire. It was a kind of a sort of a contradiction, and I think that was, although maybe that was more appropriate for the middle, but still, I think the end could have been a lot better. I think this was trying to be an MCU film, and in many ways it is. I think a lot of people are reminded of Thor probably when they see Aquaman. They're reminded that he is basically Thor of the DC universe, and not of and he's not an MCU character, but he sort of may as well be. But there's no surprise that this first film was very popular. And I would say that as a superhero film, I would say that I would give it probably a 7 out of 10. But in terms of overall, I'd probably still give it a 7 out of 10. Maybe 6.5, but I'll just leave it at 7. And I think that that is what that is. It's a pretty interesting film, and I would say that it worked in the 2010s because in the 2010s, because the fact that it reminded everybody of the MCU, even though it's not an MCU film again, but the fact that it reminded everybody of an MCU film means that it's going to be popular. And but it worked in the 2010s. Now that we're in the new decade, I feel like we need a new formula. I feel like every decade we need some kind of a new formula for superheroes. And we can't just keep relying on old, you know, formulas and old tactics. And there has to be something fresh and new. And maybe DC was also very popular. The extended universe was much more popular in the 2010s, whereas now, well, it's pretty much gone now. But I feel like we need something new. We need a new formula. We need a new way of introducing these characters. We need a new formula that would incorporate CGI, but maybe just not make it this CGI fun fest. There has to be something more to this film. And I feel like that's all that this film is. But the first one, as we're talking about right now, uh, works. It's your standard superhero film, but it's unique, and I can appreciate it for what it is. And I like the final the or not the final battle, but the I like the final battle, but it just wasn't the same as the middle part of the film, where you're kind of anticipating the final battle. And so, yeah, I'd give it a 7 out of 10, and I hope that uh, everybody else liked it, and I hope that the DC universe gets rebooted, and I hope that there will be a new formula for doing these films in the future. But anyway, that's my rant on Aquaman, and let me know what you think of this film. Give it a like if you liked it, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure talking about movies, pleasure talking about Aquaman, and I hope to see you guys again. Thank you. Take care.